The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy E Buck in the building. And yeah, it's time for the Big Buck Sports Report. Actually, it's not time. We normally would do this at our usual time of 9 to 9:30, but we've had several technical difficulties today. Plus, it's the holiday and all, and it's a lot we're trying to get done. So we had to come to y'all now and get it in. Understand the order of the show gonna be a little different than how we usually do it. You will eventually get the Guru's football session, but y'all gonna get that actually at the regular time that we air the show tonight. So be looking for that at 9:30. In the meanwhile, we're gonna do the first part of the show, but to do the first part of the show, we're gonna do the last part of the Guru football session. Did any of that make sense to y'all? It probably didn't, but you'll figure it out. Nonetheless, we are here with the sports guru himself, Hugh Lee. Make sure that you follow him on all his media outlets. We are going to let you know what those are as soon as we finish our picks for the week, because we are now about to do our NFL picks for week 12, and then we will go on with the rest of the show from there. How about that? You with that, Hugh? Hugh, please tell me you hear me.
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
I
cool.
hear you.
You know, Hugh constantly going through the sports things. That's why all the time you see him looking down. He busy working still. He with us. So that being said, we about to go through our week 12 picks. A lot of good games going on tonight. We're gonna give you some of those scores too after we get done with the picks here. So don't worry, people. We're gonna do our best to get you caught up here. In the meanwhile, we are looking at week 12 in NFL. Here are our picks as they stand. We will start out with the Thursday night games. As you know, we have three Thursday night games, it being Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving for all of y'all out there, by the way. The first game, of course, will be our Detroit Lions at 8-2 against the Packers. No, actually 4-6. My apologies. Who you got in that game, Hugh?
I'm gonna go with the Lions, and I'm gonna take the points, 7.5.
Ain't it so nice that we can say it now with confidence? Like we ain't guessing or feel some type of way just because it's our team. We saying it because they actually that good. Don't that feel good, Hugh?
It does, man. Just definitely hope that they don't have any more hiccups like they did last week, man. I hope they definitely clean that up before they play, so it don't be a situation where they even give Green Bay a chance. But that being said, I still feel like we'd come out and handle the business, and I definitely hope Golf play his A game because he played his C game and they still pulled it out. But still, I don't think that we can afford to do that again.
I think even with his B game, we should beat the Packers. Packers about as good as the Bears, I think, all said and done. So yeah, I'm taking the points of the Lions also. And that second game, we got the Cowboys and the Washington Commanders, or whatever their name is.
You don't even really have to discuss that game. I'll take the points on that one at 13.5 because the weird part is I wouldn't be surprised if not only the Washington cover but beat the Cowboys because of the fact is they seem like they play against the competition, but then they don't play against teams. Like them losing to the Giants, but like they gave Philly heartaches and pain both games, man. Even though Philly won both games, but they made both games very interesting for them, and that basically made you feel like they can compete. But yeah, man, I wouldn't be surprised if they could shock the Cowboys, but I'm gonna still go with the points and 13.5 though.
It's crazy because again, we know, as you'll hear in the Guru session later on, the Cowboys beat up on the bad teams and they have trouble with the good teams. The one exception so far this year, of course, has been the Cardinals. This might be the second one because again, we don't know what the Commanders are. Sometimes they show us greatness. Sometimes they just there. So yeah, I'm going with the Cowboys. I'm just not going with the points. I think they make it closer than it need to be. All right, that
Yeah.
third game on Thursday will be the 49ers and the Seahawks. We got 49ers 7-3, Seahawks 6-4. Who we got in that one, Hugh?
I'm gonna take the 49ers, even though they're going on the road, because Geno Smith kind of banged up, and I feel like they're going to get to Geno Smith, and I'm not having Kenneth Walker. Definitely let you know that it's a difference. No disrespect to Charbonnet, but I still feel like their workhorse is Kenneth Walker, and him not being there is going to give a lot of an advantage to San Francisco. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely take San Francisco, and I'll go a little over that 7, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm good with the 7, and yeah, I'm also good with the Niners as well. Even though it's in Seattle, and Seattle does have one of the better home crowds in the NFL. But that being said, I think they're gonna go home with that sour turkey, and yeah, the Niners gonna whoop that butt. Now, keep in mind, this week we actually have a Friday game week. Okay, how about that? We get Friday football at 3 p.m., where you will get the Dolphins against the Jets in New York. Your thoughts, Hugh?
I love it, man, because that's the one day that I wasn't really getting any football before in the past. It tried to be to the point to where they make it super shopping heavy, but I've noticed out there, man, lately, man, I ran into a guy who was a manager at a company. He was a big wig, and he asked me about the whole situation and said, "Hey, how do you feel about Black Friday?" I said, "It's okay. Depends on what it's worth. You get good things, sometimes you don't." And he basically told me how he felt like it was all a sham. And now I won't even give a damn about any shams or anything to go with it, because my full focus gonna be me chilling, eating some good leftovers, man, and I'm getting prepared for the game, man.
That being said, I still ain't got no scope. Who you got,
I'm gonna go.
Hugh?
I'm gonna go with the Dolphins, and I'm gonna go by 14.
Oh wow! So basically, say Dolphins in the blowout. I don't think Tim Boyle makes a smurfing bit of difference. Jets steal,
No,
baby.
it's good up.
Jets still take it to the cheeks. Dolphins for sure.
Joe,
Even
what's up, man?
even
What's up,
in New
Joe?
York. Shout out to our guy Big Joe checking into the show. Appreciate you, Big Joe. Thank you for checking us out as always, my brother. Okay,
Appreciate you,
as
Joe.
I said, I got them Dolphins. Moving on to the Sunday games. We're gonna start us out with Buccaneers and Colts, but do we really need to go there?
Nah, damn, they got the Colts winning that game too. Nah, man, I'm gonna go with the Bucks on that one, and I'm gonna definitely go with the. Well, you know what? I'm gonna keep it as is. I'm gonna go with that 2.5 with Indy, due to the fact that they got the droppies over there with the Bucks, man. So I'm gonna have to change my mind and say, as much as I would like for the Bucks to win, I'm gonna go with Minshew Mania.
All right,
I take
now
them
of
two.
course I'm going with the Colts on that one. I think they're gonna run them to death. We got to stop the show as always when our homegirl pop in the building. Road to stardom in the house. What up, Road? We of course
Good,
stop the
good,
show when
bro.
Road pops in to acknowledge her because of course we want you to check out her show just like you checking out ours. So before we continue, Hugh, we got to play our promo for bro.
Please follow Road to Stardom Radio on Blog Talk Radio or where most great music podcasts are located. Don't forget to subscribe and show some love.
Yep, shout out to our girl Road to Stardom. Please check out Road to Stardom Radio. I say the best place to check it out, actually, I have learned, is Spotify, because Road to Stardom is on Spotify as well. Make sure you go and hook it up, and please like and subscribe, and let us know that you did it, and let us know that you got sent to her by us. We appreciate it. Meanwhile, Road is checking in. She said, "Who are the Colts playing?" The Colts are playing the Buccaneers this week, Road, and we have both picked the Colts to whoop them on up because they do got a lot of people dropping passes over there. Not as much as those Kansas City Chiefs as we talked about earlier, but yeah, that's a whole
Yeah.
nother story. Speaking of Kansas City, that's the next team up for grabs here. We got the Chiefs playing the Raiders in Las Vegas.
They're gonna take it out on the Raiders due to the fact that they lost that game, and they should have. How bad the receiving core was, but yeah, I'm gonna go with them, and I'm gonna take the points with the Chiefs. But I just don't trust that receiving core, man. I really am. I really feel like this is a situation where he never had a situation like that in the past, and I think that this gonna come back to bite him this year as far as in the playoffs. But yeah, I let them get this victory right here due to the fact that no disrespect in the Raiders, but they are playing the Raiders, and I had them beating the Raiders. And
Yeah,
you know what? I'm not gonna take the over. I'm gonna go under on that game because I don't trust the
I
Chiefs right now.
agree. I get them a touchdown, nothing more, because in the end, until they figure out who gonna actually catch the passes when Travis Kelce is triple team, that's gonna be an issue. Moving on, we got the Steelers, the new Vamp Steelers, against the missing Joe Burrow Bengals. Hugh.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers due to the fact that I don't see them winning without Joe Burrow. That's just the bottom line.
I'm just expecting the Steelers to be Steelering, and they figure out a little better way now that they didn't change the offensive coordinators. I say it's going to be a game you're probably not going to want to watch. When your typical AFC North games, that's going to be a beat 'em up defensive struggle. I got the Steelers that 1.5. That about work. All right, we got the Jaguars and the Texans, which is going to be actually probably one of the better games of the day.
Man, that's gonna be a good 1 o'clock game. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Texans in this one.
I really want to. I really want to. It is in Houston after all, but I'm going with the Jaguars. I just got a feeling. Again, I actually expect this to either be a shootout or basically be one of those games where it start out slow and then it just come boom, boom, boom. But in the end, I think Jaguars going to have a little bit more firepower than them Texans. All right, Saints and the Falcons. Next. Agreed, Hugh?
Yep.
Agreed. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Patriots and the
100%.
Giants. Patriots and the Giants. Next. Panthers and Titans. Next.
Move on for now.
Rams Cardinals. Next. People, yeah. Them games, yeah.
One of the two games gonna catch us off guard too, and it's gonna be a good ass game. But as of right now on paper, I don't even want to talk about them.
So let's say Panthers Giants, Panthers Titans, Patriots Giants, Rams Cardinals. Hell, add Browns Buccaneers, add Broncos and Browns to that one. Which game you think gonna actually be the surprise?
Well, I don't think it's gonna be a surprise because I think the Browns and the Broncos going to be a really good game due to the fact you have to think about it, man. You got to give credit where credit is due and put respect on the Broncos' name because they won 5 straight. They won 4 straight. They was on 1-5 at one point, and they ran all 4 straight games.
All right, Rhoda is making her picks as well along with us. She's got the Colts. She's going with the Lions over the Green Bay, and she's got Dallas to win. I think we're in agreement with all of those as well. Ro, we agree with you on 3 of those. Okay, yeah, I think the Browns and the Broncos. Try saying that 5 times fast. That should be a decent game in the end. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams and the Cardinals do a little something. That would be the one I think will be the surprise. Okay, then we got in the late afternoon game the Bills and the Eagles.
That's going to be a good one, man. I'm going to take Philly at home, though.
Well, keep in mind, Philly got to stay home just like we did this week. So I think that plays to their advantage. Again, wasn't they best work against the Chiefs last week? They did find a way to win. I think that will happen again. I think we're going to start seeing a little bit better play from Josh Allen, especially now that they also have changed offensive coordinators. But I think in the end, Eagles going to have too much. I take the Eagles, and I do take those 3.5. All right, and the Sunday night game, we got the Ravens and the Chargers.
I got the Ravens because I don't trust the Chargers, man. That's a team that I feel like now I will bet against them anytime, whoever they play, because I just don't trust their coaching staff and I don't trust them enough because you say that you're a defensive coordinator and you're more of a defensive minded coach, but at the same time, you're not doing enough to win games. Your defense is always failing. Your defense is always failing, and I don't feel like you're doing enough to win games. When I'm looking at you, and I feel like your whole situation is not where it should be at, which I feel like the Chargers should be one of the more dominant teams, and they're not. So it's very disappointing to see that they got all that talent. You got Khalil Mack, like I said before, Joey Bosa's out, but then you still have enough talent on defense to where you should be superior to other teams that you always losing. Like losing to Green Bay was a huge disappointment because I thought that they'd be better than that, but I just feel like Brandon Staley find ways to lose, and that being the case, I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the coaches who's not going to be in the same seat next year. His seat's the hottest out of everybody. And then I've heard rumors that if New England Patriots don't want Bill Belichick, he can definitely go over there. You're hearing about Harbaugh right now and him landing in a coaching position right now. So it's going to be some vacancies pretty soon. And I don't think that they'll settle for a mediocre Brandon Staley when you can get a Harbaugh or Belichick, or you can get some of these really big name coaches out there. But yeah, I just don't have no faith in those guys, man. And I have the Ravens actually by more. I'm gonna give them a 7.5 favor in this game.
Yeah, I'm thinking that if the Chargers don't win this one, that might be it. I would not at all be surprised if we get that news on Monday that Staley's up out of here, especially if it goes real bad. I say they about 2 touchdown loss away from him being done. And speaking of coaches that's on that hot seat, that of course leads us to the Monday night game with those Vikings against the Bears.
I think the Vikings gonna bounce back, man. They just had a hiccup, last week, man. And it didn't really too much surprise me. It was a good run, and it has been looking good for my man's Joshua Dobbs, but I just felt like they couldn't pull off that victory, and I'm not really too upset about it because it was a really close game, but I just feel like the Broncos, for some crazy reason, it just seems like every time you look up now that Cortland Sutton is catching some wild pass or doing something clutch. But I still feel like the pick cost them in that game. But I still feel like right now the Vikings is good enough to beat the Bears. I would really be surprised if the Bears jump on them. And I think due to the fact that now you fighting fire with fire, it's like a chess match now. Because not only do you got a good scrambling quarterback with the Bears, you have a pretty good scrambling quarterback with Josh Dobbs. I just feel like it's just a little bit more talent, and the Vikings is more disciplined, especially when it comes to the defense with Brian Flores being, the head of that defense right now.
Yeah, all in all, I got to go with the Vikings, plain and simple. The Bears, after losing that game, I think that's going to put the sale out of them for the rest of the year. I think from this point on, it's going to be I'm playing for a job. I'm playing to see if I'm going to be here next year. Basically, if you're not Montez Sweat, I think anybody else on that squad should be concerned, including Justin Fields. But most definitely the head coach. I think it don't even matter what he do at this point. Unless they went out some type of crazy way, which I don't see happening, I think it's definitely a wrap for him. His replacement already out there. Like I said, whether you said it's a Harbaugh or Belichick or Ben Johnson or hell, even our defensive coordinator for that matter. His name is in the mix. So we'll see. But yeah, I got the Pastronaut and the Vikings for sure. That being said, we're going to ask you one more question, and then we, of course, can always give him the option to stick around as we talk some NBA this week on the show, because it's a lot going on in the NBA. Me and Hugh kind of had a discussion about that. He felt not so much, but I think it's quite a few things to talk about in the NBA. So, again, I'll give him that option. But first, I will ask him, because we have noticed that all of a sudden there's problems in Colorado with our boy Prime. We notice now, even today, he had another person decommit from Colorado to go elsewhere. He was getting some of the top recruits in the country to come there, but ever since we then fell off the cliff and started losing in dramatic, big time fashion, things starting to look a little different. And I think as you talk to some of those recruits, they all pretty much said the same thing. I'm not trying to go there because I don't think he's gonna stay. What's your thoughts on it, Hugh?
Yeah, they already been saying that he's going to possibly leave shortly, man. I just don't feel like they're doing good as a team, but they haven't been really the best team in football in a very long time. And, to get the scores or get the victories they got was huge because they only had one win last season. A lot of the guys transferred and left, and he had to get guys through the transfer portal, and he basically did some heavy transfer portal and with the guys that he had in the talent, and he had to start from scratch. He wanted to basically have the people who wanted to be there. And unfortunately, they don't really have a really good system right now. The program's not doing well because they got to rebuild like from the beginning. So it's going to take a little time for everything to go well, but it depends on how long he's going to be there. So I don't think he's going to be there long. And at the same time, I feel like I have no high hope for that program in the football. Basketball, on the other hand, the men and women look phenomenal, but I just don't see that football team doing well until they start getting better on the recruiting, and not only the recruiting, trying to find better talent in the portal as well, because that O-line is terrible. You got good receivers, but you don't got nobody to protect Shedeur, and that's just been a problem all year, and it's been a shame. And when I say teams been pummeling them and making them really look bad, like Washington State and, other teams that I've seen play them are not really that good of teams, but they've been embarrassed. But one team who I didn't think that was really that good until I started to see them more was Arizona, which I was surprised about because when I came to USC, when they should have beat USC, but it seemed like after that game, they just took it to another level. I'm interested in seeing what that team do next season. But yeah, I'm not really interested in the Buffs, man. And it's sad because they had so much high hopes this year and things just don't look good, man. Like they got beat so bad the other game. It looked like Coach Prime was on the sideline about to be in tears.
Understood. Shout out to young Keon Scroggins who's checking out the game. Yeah, cuz I see you doing your thing, big baby. Career high 19 points today, and you look pretty decent in that game Monday. I ain't like some of them foul calls they gave you though, cuz I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, thanks for checking out the show as always. Hopefully you got some of your boys over there, Sam Houston State University, home of those Bearcats. Y'all gonna get it together, man. I still see y'all having a very good season. You keep it up, man. Stay strong in that post. Keep grabbing them boards, baby.
Yes, sir.
My God, that's right. You know what it is, fam. You know what it is. But anyway, back to this discussion about Colorado. I really I won't trying to work it out there. I really do, but I do kind of see the sense in him moving elsewhere. I mean, think about it. The real problem is that when him having to go through the transfer portal just to get a decent enough team to get 4 wins, that's one thing. If you take Prime and all his magnetism and all that good coaching staff he got and all that and move him over to, say, a team that's looking to possibly hire somebody else, like a UCLA or Texas A&M, for instance, and you put him with that talent pool where they already got good kids on that squad, he just need a few more players, a few more dogs, as he called them. It could be a whole new ball game. Not to mention, he said he don't want to go to the NFL, but I imagine there's a couple coaches that would definitely consider bringing him in if he made himself available. So, yeah, I understand why some of those recruits kind of feel like that might be a 50-50 call. I'm figuring they probably gonna lose this last one too, and it's unfortunate that they didn't win enough games to be bowl eligible. So we're not gonna see them no more this year. But hopefully they'll work some things out, and we'll see what happens with Coach Prime and Shedeur and the crew next year. That being said, that ends this part of the rest of the Google's football. Like I said, you will be able to catch the football session after we go ahead and pick it on up. Because like I said, there was a lot of technical difficulties today. today. We're gonna try to edit that and put that on the air for y'all later on this evening. In the meanwhile, Hugh, as I said, you have the option, sir. Would you like to stay for some NBA talk, or you can call it a night, my friend?
No, thank you.
He says no, thank you. All right, fair enough. So
Yeah, I'm gonna call it a night, man.
all right, yeah, like I said,
Definitely not 100% right now, man. Trying to still recover, so I'm gonna go ahead and rest up now.
Completely understandable, Hugh. You know it. So before
It's been
you
a
go,
crazy day, the whole day too, man. Trying to get things together.
Right, give everybody the rest of your info for you head on out, my brother. You hear me, Hugh? Here we go with more technical difficulties, y'all. Yeah, Hugh.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Who is my Instagram page, and I want y'all to definitely check that out. That has my Linktree, where it has my Guru Perspective on there. It has Hugh.Lee6, which is my TikTok page. It has my Sports Guru to You, and that's my new blog page because Pure to the Game, I had some issues with that page and had to relaunch. Definitely appreciate that. And I just been trying to do my thing, man. I've been out here trying to grind and do I just did another episode yesterday of the Guru Perspective too as well. Just trying to grow that, man. And been talking about a lot of stuff that's going on in the NFL and just really trying to get my product out there. But appreciate the people who chime in and listen. And just like I said, man, stay tuned. We got a lot of good stuff that's going to be coming out for you. And I appreciate the support.
And like I said, on my page as well, we'll be sending y'all reminders for when Hugh has the new episode. You see, we've been working on a few little mini promos that people are starting to like. Shout out to all the people on IG where we've been sharing some of this info, and y'all are tuning in. Y'all don't catch the show live. We're trying to work it out to where we can start giving y'all some of the show, at least the broadcasted version on the IG page. Yeah, this got to give me a little time to work that on out for y'all. But in the meanwhile, thank you, Hugh, for joining in, and thank you for working with me through all these technical difficulties and whatnot. It's been a crazy day for both of us, my brother. So you go on here, rest. I'm sure you'll chime in bits and pieces on the comments for the rest of the show. So we're going to go ahead and let Hugh do his fizzle, and we're going to take over the rest of the show. This is, of course, the Big Buck Sports Report. Like I said, we had to do it a little different today because the show is kind of cattywampus. Everything a little crazy from the holidays, from just personal standpoints and whatnot. Y'all know I'm still in the process of getting my help and finances together. So some of that comes into play. People doing stuff, all that is, it is what it is. In the meanwhile, let's talk a little bit more sports. Like I said, if you are looking for the rest of the Guru's football session, we're going to piece together what we did record earlier and put that on a separate broadcast a little bit later on this evening, or you can always check back in the rebroadcast to see what was good. Okay. That being said, not much going on in the world of baseball. A couple of trades starting to jump off. Remember, the winter meetings are coming up in a couple of weeks, and of course, the big prize in this year's winter meetings in terms of free agency is the great one himself, the one and only Shohei Ohtani, this dude here, the man who has won MVP twice now as both hitter and pitcher. He is going to be the big prize that everybody's going to be seeking. I'm interested to see if he does indeed make that move or they somehow figure a way to keep him in LA with the Angels. We shall see. In the meanwhile, we will talk some NBA because contrary to popular belief, NBA is still going on. Remember, it is in the midst of football season, but we do got other sports going, NBA being one of them. Let's talk about some of the teams right now and where they are in terms of the season. As you know, we're about 15 to 20 games in as far as the NBA season is concerned. And also we are in the midst of the whole playoff scenario they have with the whole in-season tournament. Still not really feeling that, because I keep up with sports. I'm aware that they play those games on Tuesday and Friday, but it's still kind of confusing how it all works out. Apparently, the semifinals and finals will be happening sometime next week, I believe. In that tournament, I believe the finals are like on the 9th, somewhere in there. So if you're keeping up with it, Do know that the Lakers have the best in-season tournament record right now. They have yet to lose a tournament game. But overall, however, is another story. So let's talk about the standings, and we'll start with the Lakers. Why not? Because I do believe Lakers, who are currently at 9-6 and currently 6 in the playoff standings overall, they do have a good team over there. The issue, as always, is the health, in particular, of one Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is playing better overall, but he's still having health issues. There are still those games where Anthony just doesn't show up. Take last night, for instance, he had 26 points, 16 rebounds, and the Lakers blew out the team that they played, okay? But then you'll turn around in that next game, AD might just have 15-9 or 9-7, or, you know, it's very inconsistent with him right now. And there is no reason why. I don't understand. He seems to be a little bit healthier than usual, but not by much. Meanwhile, LeBron just is refusing to show any signs of really aging. He had 39 points last night, becoming the first Laker, well, actually not the first Laker, but the first anybody to have 39,000 points in the history of the NBA. He is the NBA's long-time leading scorer. That's kind of crazy if you really think about it, because you know LeBron is kind of almost a pass-first type of dude in a way. So you think if he can keep playing like this on this level for another 2-3 more years, not only will he have the most points of all time, but probably be right there in assists as well. As crazy as that sounds. That being said, there are still many people that says that he's not the GOAT. It is indeed Michael Jordan, because in the end they count the championships more than the rest of the play. Then, of course, you also have to realize that people, this almost 20 plus years now, LeBron, he done been to several finals. Yeah, he only won 3 or 4, excuse me. But to go to that many, and then you have to realize Michael Jordan, he played at older ages. You know, he came back with the Wizards or whatnot. We tend not to like to acknowledge those last couple years with the Wizards because he only did so much. But look at what you got LeBron is doing at that age. You got to put some extra points in there for that, okay? That part. But yeah, I honestly feel like if LeBron just says, you know what, I'm going to take whatever I got left in the tank and I'm going to lead this team. I'm not going to wait for AD to get his act together. I'm just going to go ahead and let him be second fiddle because it seems like he's more comfortable doing that. And I'm going to take over. And particularly if LeBron decides, okay, I'm going to do whatever it takes, as in being the post, as in defending the better players on the team, whatever it takes for them to win, if he puts it on his back, I think with what he has around him in LA, it could happen. That being said, the main competition for them at this point would be the Denver Nuggets, who are 10-4 at this point. And hey, that big dude, he looking like an MVP candidate yet again. Young Jokic, the Joker himself, playing Joker type ball. He don't seem to jump that far off the ground. The shots seem kind of flat, but that boy goes in. Okay, he's a good free throw shooter. He's a decent enough defender. He does just enough to make it work. And then, like I said, there's a lot of size on the front court for the Denver Nuggets. When you look at Aaron Gordon and you look at Young Jr., Mike Porter Jr., and hell, even though you still have Murray, who's out for a little bit now, you still got plenty of firepower with KCP and so on and so forth. That's still a damn good team over there in Denver. They definitely looking like the favorites because the other people that people are looking to see jump off and have a good start there in the West, that would be the Phoenix Suns, who are currently at 8-6. They are still very much so KD dependent. We're not getting a lot of Booker as we should. Booker, I feel like, should be the more dominant player on that team right now. He should be, but he's not. And, of course, Bradley Beal is not healthy enough to be that good third option at this point for that squad. They do have a surprisingly better bench than you thought they would when you consider people like Grayson Allen and the like. But, yeah, I really need to see what the three of them playing consistently together looks like to determine whether or not they are going to be in the mix in the West. Another team you definitely got to look out for in the West is Sacramento. Now, keep in mind, their leading scorer, DeAndre Fox, was out for a little while, but he is back. He is back with a vengeance, y'all. DeAndre Fox is probably the best shooting guard out there right now, not named Stephen Curry. Okay? When you look at his ability to take it to the hole, his ability to shoot now from three-point land, and his ability to take over games in the fourth, very clutch. I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing from him so far. He is playing some quality ball, and of course, Arvida's son. Yeah, Arvida's son. The Sabonis son. He is playing some good ball for Sacramento as well. In order for them to get to where they need to go, though, I need to see more out of Harrison Barnes and definitely more from that kid, Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray. I love when they say that in Sacramento. Okay, another team playing quite well in the West is, amazingly, the OKC Thunder. Now, remember, they actually did make it to the play-in game last year, so they're not to be toyed with as scrubs by any stretch. And I do believe with the addition of the big man Holmgren, they look that much better than they did last year. That kid, Gilchrist Alexander, he is still balling over there, okay? The game he played against Stephen the other night, remarkable. Excellent play on both ends of the court by him against Stephen Curry. So, yeah, definitely look for them. And, of course, right now you got Golden State at 7 and 8. Definitely the issue with them are two things. One, of course, the fact that you still got Draymond Green out for probably another game or so. And two, the fact that they are still very dependent on whether or not Stephen Curry is in the building. Okay? When Stephen is having Stephen Curry type nights, they pretty much play with anybody in the league, regardless of the lack of size they have in the front court. But when Stephen is having an off game and is not getting much support at all from Klay Thompson, who I thought definitely would play better because this is basically a contract year for him. Yeah, we're going to definitely need to see more from Klay. Definitely need to see some more from Andrew Wiggins. He is not quite making it the way we need him to make it. Like I said, it seemed like ever since the finals a couple years ago, Andrew been going through some things, and he ain't quite the player that I expected him to be at this point. And, of course, you got Gary Payton II. He's hurt right now, so that don't help. Yeah, we need to see Golden State do better. Minnesota actually has the best record in the West right now at 10 and 3. I'm very surprised by this, actually. It is very interesting that they are gelling so well. And basically, it's the combination of Cat, and remember, Cat did miss most of last year, to where that's why Minnesota wasn't quite as good as they could have been. And, of course, you got your boy Edwards, who, after playing for the USA team this summer and pretty much being the leader of that squad, has brought that to his NBA game this season. The two of them are playing some dominant ball. You're getting just enough from Gobert to contribute. He still ain't quite made the trade worth doing in terms of what they're getting from him right now. But overall, I'm liking the bench they have in Minnesota, and they do have a lot of good defenders on that squad as well. That's why I think they are 10 and 3 right now and playing well. Now, that being said, let us switch over to the East and talk about some of those teams and how they doing. First of all, let me go to the bottom. The straight booty up bottom, the worst team in the league, that would be my Detroit Pistons. They are playing god awful right now. I mean, terrible. This may actually be a worse Piston team than last year after getting a top 10 pick. And keep in mind, that top 10 pick is playing very well, I feel, Mr. Ausar Thompson. Definitely playing better than his brother, who's not really playing at all at this point, still kind of hurt. But when I look at the rest of that squad, you got him, you got Cade Cunningham, still not playing up to number one overall status to me, but doing a decent job this season. And as far as the rest of the squad, I think you can get rid of the whole lot of them at this point. Some going to have to give, okay? Monty Williams is not the problem, okay? You would think they would play better under Monty. They would listen to him more, him being a younger coach than the coach they had last year. But for whatever reason, that group of people do not gel well as a unit. And because of that, I think they need to seek out who they can ship off to where at this point. Because this Piston squad, they be lucky to win 15 games this year at the rate they going. They are playing some terrible basketball. Okay. Right behind them, by the way, the Washington Wizards. Let's talk about them for a minute. Now, of course, you know, they traded for Porzingis, and that was going to definitely cost them a little bit. But, of course, the big thought was we got Jordan Peele, and Jordan's going to be angry, and Jordan's going to want to prove that he is that guy and that they made a mistake by letting him go, and he was going to be one of the great scorers in the league this year. Well, let me tell y'all something. Wizards are 2-11. And let's look at these stats of one Jordan Peele, shall we? Right now, he is. Hold on. Let me look up those stats for y'all live on the air. Right now, in 13 games played, he is averaging 29 minutes a game. He is only averaging 16.6 points a game. I do believe he averaged more than that when he was at Golden State. I want to say that he did. Actually, Kyle Kuzma is leading the Wizards in scoring with 23. That being said, only 3.5 assists a game, 2.4 rebounds for Jordan Poole. There's already talk of getting him up out of Washington already. Because I don't think it's so much because of the output. I think it's because they're starting to discover what they really did not say as much in Golden State. That Jordan Peele is not necessarily a good teammate. I think we really start to have to wonder now what exactly happened between him and Draymond that caused that punch to happen. I think it was a little bit more than just a aggressive practice that day that led to that. I'm really starting to believe that. I'm thinking Jordan Poole may be a problem child, and those problems just haven't fully surfaced yet. But I think they're starting to figure out in Washington that that is very much the case. So let's see how they play that. Charlotte at 4-9, they ain't no better. Now let's go to some of the better teams in the East, shall we? Boston Celtics actually leading the NBA right now at 11-3. Not surprised that Boston is playing well. Remember, they were my pick to go to the finals against the Phoenix Suns this year. They upgraded pretty much at every position, particularly in the starting lineup. Definitely, where did a bug come from this time of night this year? Anyway, yeah, definitely an upgrade from Marcus Smart to Holiday. I think he is the key to why they are playing so well. He is very much a better defender than Marcus Smart, and that's saying something because Marcus Smart ain't chopped liver, mind you. And he, of course, is a better scorer than Marcus Smart. That goes without saying. When you add that to basically Brown playing better than last year, and of course you still have the better player on there, Tatum, but Tatum still ain't fully in Tatum mode yet, but he is actually doing a better job on the defensive end this year that I'm noticing. And of course, Porzingis is actually playing good ball. If we can keep that up and keep that going, then of course you got White coming off the bench and a couple of the other bench players looking pretty decent over there. I definitely see Boston making that move and keeping that number one spot most of the season. Of course, right behind them is Milwaukee. The whole key is Giannis going to be healthy? And, of course, is Dame Dollar going to be healthy? Because it seems like whenever both of them are on the floor and they are both healthy, they dominate, the both of them. And they play well together. They play very well together. I definitely like watching them play. And then, of course, there are some actually good role players on that squad. When you look at Bobby Portis and you look at the big man, both of them, him and his brother for that matter, the twins. Definitely like what I see out of them coming out of Milwaukee. Philadelphia had a little bit of a setback lately, but they still are playing good ball. I still think they need to make a move in order to be right where they need to be, okay? Definitely, you know, Embiid is doing his thing, and Maxey is playing lights out. He is definitely the most improved player of the year so far, no doubt about it. I think they're going to have to do something to add to that for them to be on that elite level, to them to get to that next level past that second round. I don't know who that might be. There's been talk of people like Zach LaVine from the Bulls. I don't know. They need a move. That's all I say. They need a move. Now, the team that's actually very surprising in the East right now is a team called the Indiana Pacers. Have you seen them play this year? If you haven't, you definitely need to check them out, okay? They are playing a very up-tempo style, scoring a lot of points. They are making teams work, okay? Even last night, I believe they scored 152 points in a win over the Hawks. That's a lot in the NBA, 152. It is very much a running gun style. They have Halliburton, and they have they got a lot of players with some crazy names over there, okay? But at any rate, they balling. They are shooting well. They are playing. They are forcing teams to have to come up with some scores quick in order to beat them. That being said, it's happening because they still are only 8-5, but it's a very strong 8-5, okay? Very strong. Looking at the rest of it, Cleveland, 8-6, could be playing a little better. New York, 8-6, definitely could be playing a little better. You got Atlanta, 6-7. Brooklyn, I think, will be better eventually. Understand they have that same problem with that guy, the one that our dude Pry Hunter likes to call Captain Kangaroo. Once again, out with back problems. Say he should be back probably sometime next week, or they're going to reassess me. He is back practicing. If they could actually get some consistent, decent play from him, not even based on what he's making, at least just be a good, decent six-man coming off the bench, I think that would make them a better team. They got good scorers on that squad. When you look at Dinwiddie, you look at Mikal Bridges. They got some people that can score the basketball. They just need somebody else to step up, particularly on a defensive level. I think if we can get him to actually step his game up and play consistent, they may have something there in Brooklyn. Keyword is maybe. I like Scottie Barnes and the Raptors. Siakam still who he is. Beyond that, Toronto just Torontoing in. That's pretty much it. But yeah, there are still several teams to check out in the NBA. I know it's still early on in the season, and a lot of y'all is deep into the football, but by all means, check out the basketball as well, y'all. It's going to be a lot of sports to check out this weekend. That's just one of them, okay? Now, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little NCAA and what's going on with that. Again, shout out to Keon Scroggins doing his thing for the Sam Houston Bearcats. Go Bearcats! We love you! This is the Big Buck Sports Report. I am that dude, Big Buck. We'll be back after some words from this, my Nighthawk Network. Let's go here with it, y'all.
We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're claiming what's ours in the name of our ancestors. We are their answered prayers. This is more than a movement. This is a revolution. Black innocence. What are yours today?
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my T-Sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meech.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech.
Darling.
All right, we are back. This is the Big Buck Sports Report. I am E-Buck the Nighthawk, giving y'all the sports that y'all need and y'all love. That being said, we're going to talk some NCAA basketball, where we are starting to get into the tournament part of the early part of the season, like the Atlantis tournament there in Hawaii and some of the others. We already talked earlier about Sam Houston State. They are in a tournament. I forget exactly where that tournament is located. If Keon is still tuned in, he can let us know. But yeah, they look good both in today's game and in Monday's game. Basically was very proud of the effort they put in against the team they played Monday. Troy is who they played Monday. They were down by as many as 15 points in the second half, came all the way back to beat them Troy people, okay? Beat them up. At their crib. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Very scrappy bunch. That team, they are suffering from a few injuries right now, Sam Houston State, but hopefully they will get those people back soon and make a nice run. Remember, last year they did make it to the NIT. This year we want them to make it all the way to the big dance. And my cousin is helping lead the way in the post. He's been getting the start the last couple games, played very well today, had a career high 19 points. Again, shout out to Keon Scroggins doing his stuff. That being said, some of the top teams in the league also playing today. Among them, the Purdue Boilermakers. They just got done winning against a very scrappy Marquette squad. Matter of fact, let's go do a little rundown of tonight's scores right quick in the NC men's basketball. Right now, in some of the current games, you got West Virginia beating Virginia. Actually, Virginia now up 1 with only 36 seconds left in the second. That's a real tight one there in the Fort Myers tournament. We got the NIT season tip-off where you got Baylor whooping up on Oregon State 44-26 at the half. You got very early on in the Bad Boys Morris battle for Atlantis, another one of those games down there in Hawaii. You got Stanford and Arkansas. That's one just really getting started. North Carolina beat Northern Iowa today 91-69 in the Atlantis tournament. And we also just talked about Purdue beating Marquette. Won that one by 3. Shout out to the big man Edey for that Purdue squad. 7'4", very solid 7'4", by the way. Not like some of the big men we're seeing, like of course Wembanyama, who we did not discuss in the NBA. You wonder why? No wonder why. Wembanyama playing good, Spurs not. Plain simple. Yeah, whatever they're feeding Edey, I need them to bring a couple plates over there to Wembanyama, okay? If we can get him to be solid to that degree, or like Hunter Dickinson, who's playing for Kansas, who also played well today and beating Tennessee 69-60, we can get them solid on that level with the skill set that Wembanyama has. Look out. Look out. The thing with Edey is he is not really a shooter, but he is very much a presence in the low post. Keep in mind that may not suit him well on the next level. As you know, in today's NBA, they like everybody be able to shoot some type of jumper, some type of three-pointer. That's not Edey's game. Edey is a stereotypical big man. You put him in the post, you leave him there, you throw him the ball, he right there at the rim, he gonna get you 20 and 10, okay? The thing is, they don't seem to have the patience for that anymore in the NBA. I definitely think, based on what I've seen of him this year, he can play on the next level. He just has to be given the opportunity. Same with Hunter Dickinson. The only difference is Hunter Dickinson is showing that he can shoot the ball. He is shooting the jumper. He is shooting from three-point land. He is not, I would say Edey might even be slightly quicker than Dickinson. Neither one of them very fast afoot, but I definitely can see Hunter Dickinson playing at the next level. He does have that game, and I think it will only improve from there. Definitely seems to be better suited for Kansas. I hate to admit that, being a Wolverine fan, knowing he was with Michigan Wolverines the first 3 years. Now, as a graduate, a senior graduate at Kansas, playing much better ball than I've seen him play before. And definitely will be interested to see what happens when and if Kansas and Purdue meet one another at some point here in the season. Those two big men going head up with each other. They have in the past, of course, because, of course, last year, Edey was at Purdue and Dixon was at Michigan. But I think it will be a better matchup because they both seem to be in better physical condition right now in terms of that. Also today, we had Creighton, who's ranked number 8, beat Loyola Chicago 88-65. So that's in the men's basketball. Like I said, more to come there. Now let's talk women's basketball because, of course, it's kind of all over the place right now. Understand, unlike in seasons past where there's usually one or two extremely dominant teams on the women's side and everybody else kind of get in where they fit in, those days seem to not exist anymore. There is no team that you look at in women's college basketball this year and is like, oh, I'm scared of them. I don't want no parts of them. Granted, there are still the upper echelon, the South Carolinas, the Stanfords, the UConns, of course, the Iowas and the LSUs of the world. But in the same token, none of those teams seem to bring the type of fear with other squads to where, okay, we beat before we even get here. Yeah, there have been some blowouts, as they tend to be early on in the season on the women's side, but a lot fewer of them. What you are seeing is a lot more teams scoring 80, 90, 100 points, things you did not see on a consistent basis in women's college basketball. What that shows me is that there are definitely a better set of talented individuals playing on those squads. Now, it's not a squad where, say, like 10, 15 years ago, you basically had one or two people that were good at basketball, a couple that was all right, and everybody else just kind of knew how to dribble enough to make a squad. It's a lot different now. You got some very quality basketball. Keep in mind, the WNBA is talking about expanding. This will probably be the ideal time to do so because the talent pool is looking awesome. You got a lot of good scorers headed toward the league, particularly next year. Like I said, that's going to be a very deep WNBA draft next year based on what we've seen so far in women's college basketball. Seen a lot of upsets early on. Right now, you got South Carolina, the number one team in the country, but there's a lot of teams that just had early losses. One in particular is LSU. Now, apparently there's a problem with the one they call Angel Reese, the Bayou Barbie herself. What we saw was last week in a game against Kent State, she was playing. There was an issue. Suddenly she came out in the second half in street clothes, did not play the rest of the game, has not been on the bench since. When Coach Kim Mulkey, the head coach of LSU, Lady Bengal Tigers, was asked about it, she basically said there's none to tell. When she's ready to come back, she'll be back. Hopefully it's sooner than later, and that's all I'm going to say about it. She basically has taken a high road and chosen not to discuss it. Angel Reese has made some cryptic messages on her social media in regards to what's going on. Some to the sect that don't believe everything you read and what have you. Don't know what the real issue is. I know Stephen A. Smith kind of addressed it on his podcast. I guess I'm going to address it a little bit on mine here. My concern when Angel was basically having the best big hot girl summer ever after the season, after winning the national championship, was a little bit of everywhere, doing a little bit of everything, was that maybe some of her focus would not be on basketball to the extent that it was, not to mention the fact that she's made a killing in the NIL, name and likeness deals, to where she is a multi-millionaire at this point, playing college basketball. You wonder if some of that kind of went to the, perhaps that's it. You wonder if, coach is seeing that she is not quite as focused as she needs to be in terms of the basketball and just kind of wanted her to take a time out to do that. Of course, there's the rumor that she's been having some issue with some of her schoolwork. I think Angel Reese pretty much is going to be a WNBA player. I don't know if she's as focused on schoolwork as you would think. Who knows? I'm just hoping whatever the issue is, she comes back and she uses as fuel to the fire. All the haters talking junk about her, and she comes back and is playing some dominant basketball because her squad is a good squad even without her. Even without her, they're playing well. They have the freshman Williams, who's playing well. They have Flo Janae Johnson, the future WNBA and probably Grammy Award winner rapper that is doing her thing on the floor. They, of course, have Miss Van Lith, who is switched over to point guard and doing an excellent job with that. And they play some very good defense. So I think, well, I'm not even going to speculate. I'm just going to assume that Angel will be back soon and that whatever it is will be resolved and we'll move on. Unfortunately, that is not the case for what's going on in UConn, where unfortunately for yet another season, one of the key players on that squad is not going to play the rest of the season. due to an ACL injury. One AZ Fudd, my friends. AZ Fudd, who at one time was the #1 recruit in America coming out of high school. It has been announced today that she is out for the rest of the season for the UConn Lady Huskies with an ACL knee issue, in the same knee that she had an issue in last year, unfortunately. I think the simple thing is to say that it never really healed, y'all. And that for whatever reason, it wasn't properly taken care of, and now she is hurt again. Understand that AC's been having knee issues even before she came to UConn. Also the case with one Paige Beckers, by the way. But then you can't help but wonder if it's something with the conditioning at UConn. You know, I am very, very observant of what goes on there. They are the squad that I do like to support in women's basketball. And I've just noticed that there's been one knee issue after another with those two, with Ice Brady, who, if you look at them play now, has a lot of protection on that knee that she is playing on. And even though she's playing well, you can tell she still ain't quite 100% herself, I feel. You have the other young lady that they got from Egypt that was supposed to play this season that is out for the season with a leg injury. So I'm wondering if it's something to do with the strength and conditioning of the UConn women, or if it's just a string of bad luck. Tough to really say, but they definitely have had their share of injury issues over the last few seasons, and unfortunately, we find ourselves here again. So, of course, prayers and more prayers for AZ Fudd. Hopefully, you will recover well and come back next season. It's unfortunate because it looks like you and Paige, which is one of the reasons why you came to UConn to play with your buddy Paige Beckers, you may not get that opportunity. I'll be hard pressed to see Paige coming back for another year. Keep in mind, she still has, I believe, another 3 years of eligibility when you consider she was out for the 1 year. So that's a medical red shirt. She was out for most of the other year. That might be yet another medical red shirt. And then, of course, she played during the time of COVID. So all those people automatically have another year of eligibility as well. So, you know, Paige is making money in NIL. And you know how much the WNBA players get played these days. But yet still, she's had her own injury issues. And who knows? We'll have to see how that plays out for them. It's just unfortunate that they didn't get to play together the way they really wanted to when they first came to UConn. But that being said, they still have a good squad. They have some excellent freshmen on that UConn Lady Huskies team. They're going to have to step up, particularly one KK Arnold and Cadence Samuels. Those two young ladies in particular are going to have to step their game up and make up for the loss of one AZ Fudd. Keep in mind, they still have Paige Beckers. They still have Aaliyah Edwards. It's still a good squad over there at UConn. I think in the end, they'll be okay. But, yeah, definitely check out the women playing. Like I said, you got Stanford with Brink over there. You even got teams like a Florida State that's playing some good women's basketball. You got Utah that's got a pretty good squad, okay? You got the Colorado team that beat LSU. They got a good squad. So it's a lot of good teams for you to check out. And keep in mind, based on the television schedule that I saw, you will be able to see women's basketball more so than you ever have before, as many of the major networks are making it a priority to show more of the women's games this season. So hopefully you'll be able to check those out as well. That being said, good people, we are going to end this part of the show known as the Big Buck Sports Report. Again, like I said, we're going to get the production part going, and hopefully we can get you the rest of the Gurus football session in some type of format in the next hour or so you can check it out. If not, we understand. Like I said, it's the holidays, and we know that some of y'all are more focused on getting your holiday travel or your holiday foods together. So if we don't get quite as many views this week, we do understand why. That being said, y'all have a great holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Please pray for those not as fortunate. Keep in mind, there's a whole war and some change going on out all over the world. And those folks, unfortunately, cannot be home for the holidays because, unfortunately, some of them don't have a home to go back to. So kind of keep them in your mind and thoughts this holiday. All right, y'all. This has been the Big Buck Sports Report. Big Book EB. Eyes out. Peace, baby.